Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Today we are taking a look at the Wera Kraftform Kompakt 27 ratcheting screwdriver. There are a couple other reviews on the web, but I recently just got this probably about 2 weeks ago. I paid about $46 for it, so it's a pretty pricey ratcheting screwdriver. I do have some other screwdrivers I want to compare it to kind of see how it stacks up to some of the more budget-friendly ratcheting screwdriver options, and see if it's really worth that price tag. Just to do a quick little overview, it's definitely a different style than what you're normally going to see out of North American style ratcheting screwdrivers. So the shaft here, and of course it is 1/4 inch. This is where you would put your bits into. This does not come out, although I kind of wish it did, but we'll get to that at a later time. And then, of course, this is your directional switch. You have right, and then this is locked, and then left ratchet, of course. It is a plastic handle with rubber overmolding, and you do have bits that are stored within the handle. So if you push this button here, what will happen is the handle pops up, which is a pretty good little spring. And you have, looks like you have Phillips 1, Phillips 2, square 1, square 2. Then you have two sides of slotted. So you do have a selection here. You don't have a ton of bits that come with it, but to be able to carry that many bits is just fine for a ratcheting screwdriver. I really like the handle. The handle feels really good. It feels really close to their standard screwdrivers, although it is a little heavier because, of course, it's a ratcheting screwdriver. But overall, it's pretty sleek. Now, one thing that I have noticed with this screwdriver, so again, as we were talking about the 1/4 inch insert, and then you have the shaft here. The shaft doesn't remove, but there is a ton of play in this shaft. A lot more than what I would imagine close to a $50 ratcheting screwdriver might have. Now, I know there are some other options on the market that are a lot more expensive than this, but that is something that I did want to point out. The ratcheting mechanism, it's a fine tooth mechanism, and if you can hear, it's very smooth, like a clock. I mean, the ratcheting mechanism in this is really, really nice. And if you can hear the sound, it has a beautiful, beautiful sound to it. I do really like that. However, there is a fair bit of back drag with the ratcheting mechanism. So that is something to note. And of course, with it being fine tooth, you're not really going to want to really put a lot of torque on this thing. With those finer teeth, they can deform and shear a lot easier than what a thicker tooth ratcheting mechanism would. But that's kind of the trade-off that you get with your coarse tooth versus your fine tooth and your ratcheting mechanisms. And then something else I wanted to point out is when you're in the fixed mode, there's still a fair bit of play before the screwdriver starts to catch and turn. So if you look, that's a lot of play. One thing I will say about this, the magnet on this is insanely impressive. It is extremely strong. So here's just some random fasteners here. I mean, this thing the magnet on this is extremely impressive. I mean, you really have to shake this thing to get it to let go, which I really, really like. I really like that a lot. Even these larger screws, it has no problem picking those up. So as far as the magnet goes with this, the magnet is very, very impressive. I wanted to kind of compare this to an old favorite of mine, which is this Lennox ratcheting screwdriver. Now, this is typically what you're going to see with North American style ratcheting screwdrivers. It has the removable shaft, and then of course you have two-sided bits. You got your Phillips and slotted, and then on the other side you have another removable shaft, and you have just a single bit And then you have another double-sided bit, which is square and Torx. You also have socket. So you have, I believe that is 3/8, 5/16, and 1/4 inch. So you do have basically what you would have, what would be like a nut driver. So you do have that option with this. I did test this out to see if you could fit 1/4 inch in it to use as kind of like a nut driver. And yeah, I mean, you absolutely can. So you can use this as a 1/4 inch nut driver, but this does have those 3 extra options. And of course, here is your switch on the Linux. You have your right, lock, and then of course your left. The ratcheting mechanism on this one, I'll let you hear. It's way more coarse than what the Wera is. And this isn't like a unique style. I think a lot of these come from the same plant, the same manufacturing plant. And another thing I want to point out about this Linux is this thing is freaking heavy. It is really, really heavy. And I mean, if you hit somebody over the head with this thing, you probably kill them, to be honest with you. This thing is that heavy. Yeah, and I like this so much that I also bought the stubby version. And I did also do a review on these two. If you want to go back and check that out, I'll leave the video, the link up here. I really like the stubby. Matter of fact, I like the stubby more than I like the regular size ratcheting screwdriver. And, you know, I think it has a similar ratcheting mechanism, but the cool thing about this, which I didn't mention in the previous video, is you can take that out, and if you want to make it even more compact, you can remove your bit holder and just put your bit in there just like that, and away you go. Also, your storage for this is going to be, you know, that's nothing new. So it's like a little cap that you put in here, and this doesn't really lock that great, I will tell you, especially if you're using it like this. You can kind of open that up, so that is something I do want to mention. This would be more in line with a low-cost kind of throwaway model. This is Estwing's 19-in-1 ratcheting screwdriver. It does have some pretty cool features, but overall, this thing is absolutely garbage. This is probably one, I think this was like the second YouTube video I ever did. It was the second tool I ever did, a video one. You can go check that video out in the upper right-hand corner. And this is really what made me get into making videos, because this thing sucks that bad that I wanted to let as many people know as possible how bad this thing sucks. So this is more like the Linux in that it has the removable shaft, and then of course you have your nut drivers, your double-ended bits, you know, all that stuff that you have with the Linux. But on top of that, this has actual double-ended bit storage in the handle, which that is pretty cool that it has that. But what makes this thing suck so bad is so this is your switch for your ratchet. Now, if once you put that, you know, say I want to turn it to the left here, you start using this thing, and what'll happen is that switch, it works its way over into the neutral position, which is the fixed position, no matter which way you go. So you can only use this, there it goes again. And you can see I'm not touching the switch. There it is, caught again. So when you're using this thing and you're trying to use it as a ratcheting screwdriver, it always ends up working its way to the neutral position. And it's not a very positive switch. It's a plastic switch, plastic handle. It does kind of have this kind of rubber overmold on it, but this thing absolutely sucks. And I think I think this is one of those S-Wing tools that are made in China. I like S-Wing hammers and, you know, their striking tools and stuff like that, but this was an absolute piece of garbage, and I'm kind of disappointed that S-Wing put their name on it. All right, so I do want to get a weight on this, because another feature about this Wera ratcheting screwdriver is how light it is. This thing is extremely light, and it also kind of has this anti-roll feature with the switch here. So the Wera comes in at, looks like about 7.5 ounces. The Linux, which I do want to mention, I'm not sure if I mentioned that prior, but this was about $20, so it's about half the price of the Wera. This comes in at 12 ounces, so yeah, I mean, that's a good bit heavier. You're getting close to a pound on that. This is Linux's stubby. See how much that weighs. Oh wow, so that's 7 ounces. So the stubby, the Linux stubby, weighs about 0.5, 0.4 ounces less than the full-size Wera. And then this S-wing, that's probably the heaviest out of all of them. Yeah, 12.1. So the S-wing and the Linux, these are your more budget-friendly ratcheting screwdrivers. This is definitely one I would recommend. This is definitely one I would never, ever recommend. So another feature to note, the Wera bits that come with the ratcheting screwdriver are really, really nice. They are probably some of the best fitting bits of any screwdriver other than the Wera Kraftform screwdrivers that have the laser etching. These have a really good fit. The only complaint is that I wish they had the laser etching like the Kraftform, the regular Kraftform screwdrivers. So one of the things I really like about this screwdriver is whenever you are ratcheting into wood, not only is it nice and comfortable to use, but oftentimes what happens is with ratcheting screwdrivers, once you get to a certain point, the ratchet will overcome the resistance of the screw, and you basically are just going to have to go without using the mechanism altogether. This is what I mean. So once you get to a certain point here, the screwdriver will just twist the screw. So at that point, you just have to twist it on out. So the resistance of the screw, there isn't enough resistance to allow the screwdriver to ratchet. So this screwdriver in particular seems like it gets to that point at a much later time. So as you can see, we're about at that point now where there's not enough resistance on the screw to allow the mechanism to work properly. But if we just go ahead and take it on out, you really only have just a couple threads to go. Now when you compare that to something like this Linux, this one absolutely does a fantastic job driving the fastener. But the mechanism is a little stronger on this Linux, and you'll get to that point where you don't have enough resistance to overcome the ratcheting mechanism a lot sooner than what you're going to get on that Wera. So we're about at that time now. So as you can see, the ratcheting mechanism isn't working. So there's a lot more of that screw left that I have to overcome than what was left over with the Wera. All right, guys, so that is the Wera Kraftform Kompakt 27 ratcheting screwdriver. There are definitely some features I like about this ratcheting screwdriver. The quick access to the bits, the slim profile, the ratcheting mechanism is beautifully engineered. The wobbling and the driver bit, that's a bit of a concern, and I don't like that these bits don't have the laser etching like the Kraftform, the standard screwdrivers. It has a beautiful, robust, nice, positive selection switch, which is also very nice, and the handle is definitely similar to the standard Kraftform screwdrivers. Is it worth $45, 45, 50 bucks? I think they definitely could have done more to refine this particular tool at that price, considering the options that you have out there that cost less. Overall, for that particular price point, there are some things I like about it, and I am happy that I have it. And I probably will use it just because of how strong that magnet is. That magnet is awesome. I have for you guys today. Hopefully this video was informative and helps you make a decision on whether or not to purchase this particular tool in the future. If it was informative and you did enjoy the video and you like content like this, liking and subscribe would definitely go a long way in helping the channel. Also, if you're interested in any of the tools, especially the German branded tools you see on the video, I will have an affiliate link for KC Tool down in the description. Using that affiliate link does ultimately help the channel and allows me to continue to bring you all these tools and review these tools for you guys to help you make your buying decisions. But that's all I have for you guys today. Definitely thank you for stopping by, and I will see you next time. Peace.